On the 20th of March, 2021, Alex had an Astra-zeneca vaccine. 12 days later, he had sore calves, arms, tiredness, pain. On the 4th of April, Alex collapsed. I was rushed in for a CT scan confirming multiple blood clots. Blood clots, have you ever heard of that, everybody? Yes, it's the big thing that's happening to people and no one talks about it and there's nothing on the news about it. Blood clots in lower abdomen and both legs. And they removed the blood clots and unfortunately, Alex had to have her leg amputated. Alex has had no compensation from the drug companies. They're immune to punishment. It's like going in a restaurant and eating something, you die or get sick and you can't prosecute them. It's the drug mafia.
You mentioned Pfizer, Dom, the documents that's all been coming out now with Pfizer. And obviously they were trying to get a judge to hide them for 75 years.
I wonder why, you know.
Well, given what we now know why. You know, the first 100 pages, there was 9 pages of adverse reactions of special interest. And it was like reading a book with the smallest print you ever saw to get as many into a page as you could. We now know that they did a study in one of the pilot studies. I think the number was 55,000 people were tested and 44,000 had reactions. That's Pfizer's own information. It's also that it's only 12% efficiency in its first week and it drops to nothing in the second week. And their own bottle, their own safety bottle says, do not give this to children under 12. The UK government updated its warning system on the quiet a week and a half ago to say that there's a higher risk of myocarditis, pericarditis, tracheocarditis, pancreatic cancer, and POTS in children. This is children here. We're now at a point in history where you have to make the decision. You're going to be part of how we try and sort this for people, try and make it better, or you're part of what's evil. There is no grey area anymore. We now know that these things is globally killing people. And when you look through the connections all the way back up, you start to wonder, how was this ever allowed? You know, the UK Health Regulations Authority, 95% of the board of directors, all their funding, research, studying has all been sponsored by either Pfizer or Astra-zeneca. We also know that in the last 2 years, those same board have been receiving payments from both Pfizer and Astra-zeneca. That's now under investigation. And we now know that the safety data wasn't checked by the UK government. Why not? So there's now, it seems, standard practice. The manufacturer gives the safety data and the product and tells them it's safe.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Jason Liosatos. This is my show, Project Humanity. I'm honoured tonight and very, very blessed and very pissed off, actually, as well. I've got a very amazing man on my show who I saw on GB News the other night, and he's very kindly come on the show. His name's Alex Mitchell. Thanks, Alex, for coming on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Very nice to meet you.
You too. And you know, I'm quite angry. Okay, and anger's okay. I'll just say what's happened to you. Alex is a scaffolder and a musician and a fellow biker, may I say, like myself, or was, okay, and will still be. On the 20th of March, 2021, Alex had an Astra-zeneca vaccine. 12 days later, he had sore calves, arms, tiredness, pain. On the 4th of April, Alex collapsed. I was rushed in for a CT scan confirming multiple blood clots. Blood clots, have you ever heard of that, everybody? Yes, it's the big thing that's happening to people and no one talks about it and there's nothing on the news about it. Blood clots in lower abdomen and both legs. And they removed the blood clots and unfortunately Alex had to have her leg amputated. Alex has had no compensation from the drug companies. They're immune to punishment. It's like going in a restaurant and eating something, you die or get sick and you can't prosecute them. It's the drug mafia. No help, And I just got to mention that brave Conservative MP Sir Christopher Chope was literally shut up in the Houses of Parliament because he was speaking out about this. Alex, honestly, there's so much to talk about. You know, an amazing man. And the reason this whole bloody charade is still going on is because people won't speak out. A friend of mine has had bad hips. He's weeing all the time. He's not well after this. And people don't talk about it because they're scared of being punished or banned off Facebook or whatever. Thank you, Alex, for your courage. And I'm so desperately sorry for what's happened to you. I'm really sorry, mate. I'm really sorry.
Thank you, but it's not your fault. It's not the general public's fault. We know exactly whose fault this is now. We know exactly why it's happened. I can't change what's happened. Yeah, I'm angry. Yeah, beyond belief. But there's no point in me shouting and screaming here and now. That doesn't serve me any purpose. I'll reserve my anger and I'll channel it the proper way. Be focusing on getting these bastards back for what they've done to us. Because this was all done in a lie. We now know that. Now, it's bad enough what's happened to you. Your life's been absolutely changed, wrecked overnight. You then try and build your health. You can't build your health because they don't give you any financial support. And it took 10 months for myself, and I'm not alone here, just to get basic state benefits. Now, we're now over a year down the line, and we're still waiting some sort of a financial support or any support from government in any other way, shape or form. And the numbers are just getting bigger and bigger. Now, I quoted the figure of 920 on the 28th of February. It's now the 13th of May. That figure is over 1,200. It's climbing by an average of 50 per week.
50 a week. What was that actual figure for people who don't know about
it? There's a vaccine damage payment scheme. If you've been damaged by one of these vaccines, and if you can prove that it was most likely to be caused by a vaccine, and that you're at least 60% severely disabled, you're entitled to claim a paltry £120,000 sum for what's actually a whole of life event. And that's another story. But so there was 920 people who were medically over 60% that had put a claim in the last 2 years. That's gone up by 300 in the last 6 weeks. It's going up by 50 a week. Now, that's over 1,200 we're at just now. What about all the thousands of people that didn't make 60% disabled? That are fighting to get their health recognised by their doctors, who are ignoring them, gaslighting them. I've seen some videos of two hospital situations of recent that were recorded in hospitals, and they are absolutely horrific. These people are at the very lowest in their lives, and they're going to the place where they think they can be saved to be treated like that. We've lost 3 people to suicide in months because of that kind of abuse. Now, that's the public, that's the medical abuse. You've got the politicians' abuse for ignoring people and not giving us any support whatsoever. You've also got the public abuse for putting your head above the parapet. And that's the worst part for most people. You know, people are crying out for help, not to be told you deserve what you get because you took it. We're way beyond that point now. It's not about who took it, when they took it, or why they took it. The reality is there is a huge, huge problem, and we need to recognise it and start doing something about it.
Jesus. I'll just show people those pictures, Alex, if I may, of you. I'm a fellow biker, as you know. There's you on your bike. There's you on your bike a while ago with both
That's
the
a long
legs.
time ago, yeah.
Well, you're looking very bonny there, I got to tell you, very bonny.
Yeah, I was going to a wedding that day.
I lived up in Scotland near Inverness, so I love the area up there, Alex. There's you afterwards. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. I'm a fellow biker, everybody, right?
That's the same scooter, believe it or not.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. That's an amazing story in itself, you know.
Yeah.
And here's one I want to show people as well. I know I'm so So appreciate what you're doing here. There's Alex, he's a musician. There he is, okay. There he was. No, but there he is. There you are. You're still a whole person for me completely. And I do karate. I like my motorbike. On Sunday, I went to Brecon Beacons on my bloody motorbike, right? And I enjoyed it. And I'm glad you're speaking out about these bastards. Listening, everybody? These bastards, okay? Right? And people have got to get angry. There's people who won't post about this, Alex. There's people who won't talk about this. Why? Because they'll get banned. I'm banned off YouTube. I'll probably be banned off Facebook for this. I don't care, right? I'll stand outside Parliament with you, right? I've done it for other things. I was with Tony Benn when the bloody Iraq war was going on. Tony Benn, years ago. People have got to stand up. Why? Because there's people who haven't been born yet who are relying on you all now to do something.
I think it's time to stand up and do what's right. Do the right thing. And I think that's what's wrong. People are forgetting that the amount of pressure was put on huge, the whole global pressure was put on individuals collectively to go and do the right thing. And people did, because the people want to do the right thing. Most of these people are decent human beings. And if you stick by that code of honour, well, you're doing the right thing. So you've did the right thing. It went wrong. You still try to do the right thing to tell people it can go wrong. You're being denied. So therefore, you still keep standing up because it's the right thing to do. And this is what's wrong with these people. They talk about morals, standards, principles, and ethics. All they can do is say the words and spell them. They don't know, they haven't a fucking clue what the words mean. They really don't. But that's the difference. I'm not prepared to lower mine. They don't have any.
Well said, my friend. And I, let's put it this way: the Pfizer leaks, the leaks are coming out now and everything, and people are coming forward now, and it's like a sinking ship, and people are bailing out and speaking the truth. Many doctors, I've had Dr. Carrie Madej on my show, Dr. Shelley Tenpenny, Del Bigtree, who is the producer of the film Vaxxed. Del now and Tess Laurie they're doing a conference in Bath about this kind of thing, right? Del's a great guy. He went on a bus around America with people, right? And I remember Andrew Wakefield was telling people about the autism and stuff like that. And there was people coming forward and parents signing the bus whose kids had autism, who were scared to come forward through fear of punishment from the drug mafia, right? Because it's a revolving door with the government and them. It's all sewn up, right? There was no autopsies, no autopsies. What a laugh. Oh, I wonder why, right? Oh God, you couldn't see your parents. You couldn't do this. We won't go into that in a big way here. Matt Hancock, Chris Whitty, these lying cheats, right? Now it's coming out now. So I want to say this to people like yourself. If you knew what the risks were, the trials and the proof that the trials were terrible, I haven't got the figures in front of me. I should have done it, of how many people were getting ill and they hid it and they didn't want to show. I bet you wouldn't have had that vaccination. It's obvious.
I can give you the figures for Astra-zeneca.
Yeah.
We know, particularly for the condition that's classified as VIT, which is vaccine-induced thrombotic thrombopenia, there is 438 cases of VIT in the UK. Sadly, 78 of them are fatalities. That's people, and a lot of those fatalities now have death certificates, coroner's reports stating this could only have been caused by the AstraZeneca vaccine. We've got 360 survivors, including myself, and I'm not the only one that's had an amputation of a leg. It's not as if I'm a one-off. This is the real horror of where this goes. We also know now that the data that the AstraZeneca supplied to the UK Health Regulations Authority and the FDA was the same data. The FDA rejected the data, saying it was out of date, incorrect, and incomplete. And that's why AstraZeneca was never granted a license in America. The British government went ahead with it. We all now know that there's a report that's been outstanding for at least 2 years showing that AstraZeneca knew that the vector drive they were using for this 20 years ago was causing clots. And you're right, every animal that was tested died, horrible deaths. and yet they went straight to human use.
And they hid the data, right?
Yeah, so that comes down to informed consent. And informed consent, my informed consent, was a sum total of my informed consent. You may have a sore arm at the site area for a couple of hours, and you may experience flu, cold-like symptoms for 48 hours. That was a verbal, that wasn't in paper. That's the sum total of the side effects that I was told of. That's not informed consent. And if I'd have known for a second that there was one single problem, or even known that what a quarter of what I know now, you wouldn't have been nowhere near me with that, Jack. My back would have been your vision. I'd have been running. I think we all know that.
Yeah, yeah. And you know something, Alex, I've got a little shop in Tottenham in Devon, you know, and the stories I've heard in there, and someone I know used to be my neighbour comes down one day on walking sticks, right? Sorry if you're listening, but I won't say her name, so I can't remember her name. Oh God, I don't know what's wrong with me. I've been to the doctor and he said it's a mystery, you know. I didn't want to say anything, but I wonder if she had the vaccination. Because I know she did, because her husband had the vaccination around the same time, and he was working somewhere also. I won't say where it was. And I saw him, and he was in a terrible state. And he said, I feel like I've been hit by a truck. I feel like I'm dying. They've sent me home. Oh, so there's so many people like that, Alex. Good, trusting people. Don't get me wrong. You know, we are, you know, good, trusting people, good people who want to do the right thing. There was a pandemic, supposedly, or whatever it was. It was going to kill loads of humanity. We got to do the right thing. People have done the right thing to do that, right? But they were very ill. How many people who haven't come forward, who are seriously still ill, right? Can you imagine the numbers?
The UK has a yellow card reporting system, and it's talking about abuse and maybe some misrepresentation, shall we say. Every adverse reaction that's listed is listed on a yellow card. I'm responsible for possibly 6 or 7 yellow cards. So the number at the top is maybe quite inflated, if that makes any sense, because if you've got 5 symptoms, you've got 5 yellow cards. So that's the number coming in. But if you write it down, you can't hide the fatalities. That figure doesn't change. And that figure is, I think, is something 400 and odd people. There's maybe more on that. But you mentioned Pfizer, the documents that's all been coming out now with Pfizer. And obviously they were trying to get a judge to hide them for 75 years.
I wonder why, you know.
Well, given what we now know why. You know, the first 100 pages, there was 9 pages of adverse reactions of special interest. And it was like reading a book with the smallest print you ever saw to get as many into a page as you could. We now know that they did a study in one of the pilot studies. I think the number was 55,000 people were tested and 44,000 had reactions. That's Pfizer's own information. It's also that it's only 12% efficiency in its first week, and it drops to nothing in the second week. And their own bottle, their own safety bottle says, do not give this to children under 12. The UK government updated its warning system on the quiet a week and a half ago to say that there's a higher risk of myocarditis, pericarditis, tracheocarditis, pancreatic cancer, and POTS in children. This is children here. And now they're trying to say that there's a link between your pet dog and what the hell's the one? Hepatitis?
Hepatitis, yeah. What a coincidence. All the kids got hepatitis suddenly.
We've had dogs as animals for thousands upon thousands of years, and there's never once in the history ever been a dog linked to hepatitis going to a human. Stop telling lies. Just come out and tell the truth. We're beyond that point now. We're now at a point in history where you have to make the decision. You're going to be part of how we try and sort this for people, try and make it better, or you're part of what's evil. There is no grey area anymore. We now know that these things, it's globally killing people. And when you look through the connections all the way back up, you start to wonder, How was this ever allowed? You know, the UK Health Regulations Authority, 95% of the board of directors, all their funding, research, studying has all been sponsored by either Pfizer or Astra-zeneca. We also know that in the last 2 years, those same board have been receiving payments from both Pfizer and AstraZeneca. That's now under investigation. And we now know that the safety data wasn't checked by the UK government. Why not? So there's now, it seems standard practice, the manufacturer gives the safety data and the product and tells them it's safe. And they go ahead with this. You know, it just goes on and on and on. And the higher you go, the more you go, this is callous. You know, okay, so we know there's a virus. That's not up for debate. It was killing people. That's not for debate. But what's up for debate is what they were telling us and what we now know. You know, the reality is it was killing older people, not young people that were fit and healthy. But they knew that then as well. So there's a virus. We needed vaccines. We needed them quick. So therefore there's a higher risk of them going wrong. So we go to that level, we'll run them out, we'll logistically send them all around the UK, all around the world, get age group sweep up, tell you you've not got one by text message, phone calls, emails, visits to your job, you know, limos calling up at your door, taking you to get your vaccine. But what do we do when it goes wrong? Well, we'll just keep existing benefits and we'll add 2 words to the existing policy from 1979 that 3 times has been trying to be reformed because it's that bad. And those 2 words were COVID-19 vaccines. You can check all this out. This is not me making stuff up. I've said this live on TV. I've said it many times in social media, and I've not been stopped once because I'm telling the truth. You know, this is when you start to go, okay, this is morally corrupt. You decided not to give a flying fuck about what you were doing to people, knowing it was going to go wrong more often than not. And the more I started out trying to get support from me a year ago, because I thought I was the only person in the world, because I was at that time. I was the first person in the world to survive this. You know, so you're there and you're left and you're in this sea of wilderness and you don't know who to talk to, where to go, what to do. You take to social media and suddenly within weeks you're finding reports of there's not just you, there's more and more and more. And then you find out about the ones that sadly didn't make it. And you become friends with their wives, their mothers, their daughters, brothers, all, you know, the full, it's horrific, sons. Somebody has to stand up and say, fucking no, enough's enough. And I did that a year ago. And we're now getting to the stage where we're gaining traction, you know. But it's been hard for us all. And yeah, I'm just a spokesman in many ways for a lot of people that's in the same place as me in the background. My story was just the one that got picked. You know, I would love to say this is just me. That would be a tragedy, it really would. But there's so many of them out there. And the ones I feel really sorry for is the ones that are fighting to get their health issues recognised. I don't have that fight. I've got everything. All the legal documents, all my paperwork, all the medical stuff. God above couldn't dispute what's on my paperwork. So I know I'm comfortable enough to stand up and fight. These people don't have that confidence because they're fighting just to survive. Sorry, I ranted on a bit there.
No, man. For one rare case today, I'm shutting my big gob because normally I'm the one ranting. But this is I haven't done a show like this, and I never will again. It's clear. You know, what was it? 50. There was 50 sort of cases with the swine flu. Was it 50 cases, and they shut it down or something with the vaccination?
53.
How many?
53.
53, and they shut it down. See, yeah. It makes me very, very suspicious. And I know people say, oh, Jason's a conspiracy theorist. But, you know, I've listened to what bloody the Bill Gates has said, and I've listened to all the different things. I've looked into this quite a lot, not as much as maybe a lot of people. The sterility, what's in there, the gene therapy thing is, you know, all the doctors I've had on my show, some really good people, you know, and they're saying this is not good. Eric Clapton, look what happened to him, you know. Thank God he came out. Thank you, Eric, for coming out, you know. He could have been, and doctors are gagged. Doctors have got mortgages. Doctors have got cars on hire purchase. They've got houses to pay for. They're gagged. They're terrified. And so more and more doctors are coming out, thank God. But they're gagged. And you know, look at the hunger. Never mind anything else. Not what's happened to you is terrible. Look at the hunger, the suicides, the hunger globally, the actual collapse that's coming from this, right? The supply chain breakdowns, which is coming from this. People all over the world are starving. Why? From a bloody lie, right? It's like Iraq. It's like Iraq. It was the same thing. Oh God. Oh well, it was a lie. There's only a few million people dead. Let's not worry about it. We got our oil. We took over the Middle East. This is the same shit, right? And you know, I could throw around conspiracy theories, but it's a bit of a strange Trojan horse that they're bringing through when you look at Operation Lockstep and the Rockefeller papers and stuff like that, saying that they want a great digital reset and complete digital control on your telephone, on your phone, and a cashless system. Oh, isn't it brilliant that this is actually initiating that? What a coincidence.
No, it's brilliant for who? It's not brilliant for you. It's not brilliant for me. It's brilliant for them. And you're right. Over the last 2 years, society's done something I never thought it would do. It's turned inward in itself in so many ways. I've seen so many good people's lives destroyed, particularly over the last year. And I don't mean just with vaccines. I mean by people like you're saying, doctors standing up, professional people, celebrities. You know, there's a lot of celebrities that are going to have to really atone for some of what they've done. And I'll name them. I don't mind. I've got nothing to hold. Your Holly Willoughby, your fucking Schofield, Lenny Henry, Alan Shearer, all these ones that are pro-vaccine, pushing it on. And they know now there's a problem.
And they were paid.
Want to push it.
They were paid, I'll bet you, yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got people like Matt Letizia. That guy's career's been absolutely destroyed. Now, this is the wonderful thing about society in many ways. What happens in one area usually happens in all areas of society. I never in my world where I thought I would have spoke to people that I've spoke to today. And I spoke to Matt Letizia today on the telephone. I've also spoken to a chap called Seb Sanders. If you know anything about horse racing, he was a world-renowned jockey. Well, his wife's having some really bad problems. And he said, you know, they've held it quiet. And he came out last night and said publicly, we need help with this. We need to stop this. These guys are prepared to put everything that they've got in a line to stop some. No, Matt Letizia's not got a problem. He's not been vaccinated. So he's fighting for people like myself. So we're beyond why we got it, who we got it. It's time to move on and get on the side of what's right and proper. Tess Laurie, you know, lost her career because of she did the right thing. And so many others. Peter McCulloch, Robert Malone, Sam White, the list goes to John Campbell, the list goes on and on and on. These people are world renowned in their fields. And the press has got against them, and the media narrative has turned everyone against them. History will show, and it'll show it very soon, who was right and who was wrong. We know who's right. I can't change what's happened to me. I know nothing's going to ever give me my leg back. But if I can do one thing that stops somebody else and thinks about this, or fights it, gives them the strength to stand up with us, or to maybe change something in the public eye that goes, do you know what? It's time I change my heart here. Because it's the public. I'm not going to change this. It's the public behind us that's going to change it. And that's what we've got to do.
Just as an image of yourself, you know, without your prosthetic leg on outside a bloody vaccination clinic, you know, an Astra-zeneca vaccination clinic, saying, "Don't go in. Look what happened to me." You know, and imagine if they, those those figures that came out with the Pfizer, whichever one it was, saying about the ones they wanted to hide for 75 years. Imagine if they were outside a vaccination clinic, you know. I mean, you know, very few people would go in. But the thing is, you know, Alex, people's jobs, you know, I've got a lot of people that I know, they would have lost their jobs if they hadn't had the vaccination, and they've got kids to feed. They've got their reputations, and it's a bloody disgrace, and it's a bloody crime. And you know, you look at people like David Kelly with the Iraq War. Remember him? Oh, he must have slipped and fallen on a bloody screwdriver or something. He killed the poor bloke. That's what I'm convinced of it.
I'm waiting a screwdriver coming through the post.
Yeah. Say it again.
I said I'm waiting on a screwdriver coming through the post. Well,
the good thing nowadays is, I believe, Alex, is the more we shout and scream and the more visible we become, the less chance there is of us getting, you know. And I'm willing. I'll tell you what, everyone right now, I'm willing to die for people who haven't been born yet. I'm willing to die for my family so they've got a better future. That's what more people need to do, is stand up. I'm banned off YouTube. I'll probably be banned off Facebook. I'm going to have more people like yourself on, and I'm not frightened. And someone's got to do it. And there's people, you know something, Alex, just a quick thing, sorry.
No.
There's people that have come into my studio, people I know well, people who know about these things and the corruption and the evil in this world that's doing this kind of thing. And they've actually said to me, Jason, they said, I'm actually avoiding your posts now. I'm not putting comments on there or likes or agreements or reposting. They said, because I'm worried about my job. So imagine this, everybody. Imagine this. By avoiding and self-censoring yourself, because your boss might see it, or a future boss. This lady said to me, a future boss 5 years down the timeline will probably check my Facebook posts to see what kind of person I bloody am, right? There's people that have lost their bloody limbs, like Alex, because people are self-censoring and won't stand up for this. Well,
the other side of that, I would say, is that there is people that are prepared to risk everything, and they're risking everything to gain what, and I mean that in the nicest possible way. For those that have decided never to take this thing, they're standing up and they're fighting and shouting. These people are risking everything for no personal gain of their own. Does that not tell you something? When someone's at that level, you have to look at why more and more people are standing up and saying, I've got everything to lose and very little to gain other than stopping this happening to one other human being. You know, so you're starting to see the other side of it. Yes, it's ridiculous in this day and age that something that someone said 10 years ago could possibly be held against them at a bloody interview. God, for the love of God, what happened to us? I seen that there was a law now come into effect where being called baldy is an act of discrimination. Coming from somebody who's clearly not got the biggest head of hair in the world. Baldy, and it's oh, come on. You need to fucking grow up here, people.
It's getting bloody ridiculous, Alex. I'm not joking. My wife went in the toilet. I've said this on the other shows. I'm sorry to everyone for repeating myself, but it's clear. My wife went in the toilet. I saw a man walking behind her in a public toilet, and I didn't realise he was the cleaner. And there's a big sign on the wall. Males cleaning the ladies' toilets, females cleaning the ladies. It's all upside down. It's getting madder and madder and madder. But what's happening here with this vaccination program, no heads are rolling. It's the same old thing, and it's even if there's no, conspiracy to sort of get everybody into a digital prison through this, which there is. Get the app on your phone, get this, get that, and it's all going to be online, and no one's going to be able to be no cash. Even if that wasn't true, and it wasn't they weren't just using it for a Trojan horse. It's still one of the greatest crimes against humanity we've ever seen. A blatant lies when they know people are going to get harmed. What happens? No one ever gets punished, Alex. At each election or change of president, politician, pope, priest, everything they've previously done, whether it's Sarkozy, Cameron, Obama, Bush, Blair, everything's previously forgiven and forgotten. That's got to change. If you're in a position of government power, even if you are ethically compromised, you will be brought to justice at some point. You will, believe me, you will, right?
I think it has to be that way. Now, the reality is, Pfizer is the most fine company in history. These people are criminals. and they're telling governments what to do. When did that get allowed? How did we get that far? Because I'll tell you something, it's some gig. I'd love to have got that one. I know guys in East End of Glasgow would be impressed with that cleverness. That's some gig.
Gangsters, right?
You know, these people are the real criminals. You know, I'm a disabled man and I probably pay more fucking tax than half of them because they're all registered in private companies in the Cayman Islands and all the rest of it. And they want to tell me how to live my life, you know, that I need to learn how to cook better and budget better. I don't need to go to a food bank. We never heard the food banks to the Conservative Party come in. They didn't exist. These fucking people are proud of putting people into poverty. I've never been this rebellious. Well, I probably have, but not that way, if you know what I mean. I was rebellious and passionate about what I wanted in my life. But this has to stop. The whole fucking thing's a rock. The game's rigged. And we now know the game's rigged. Do I know what the answer is? I really don't. I wish I did. But I know part of the answer is standing up and saying, fuck off, this stops.
Well, part of the answer is a big part of the bloody answer, Alex, is people like you. And you are the smelling salts. You're the smelling salts for a new, I would say, people like yourself, for a new humanity that wants to be born. There's a new system that wants to be born, but and I've said it before, there's a big boot on the cervix and the womb that doesn't want it to happen and doesn't want truth to come out. You imagine a system where debt, power, short-term greed, and control of people's livelihoods and fear, as I said, is the main force rather than freedom, happiness, love, you know, debt-free, this kind of thing. It's always the same kind of monsters that push this thing forward, and it's going to change because it's coming to a point now, you know.
You know, it's been shown in history and society that this has been tried a couple of times before. And fucking 90 days, look at this. None of the two of them worked out very well for any of the average Joe public. You know, so we know it doesn't work. So it's time to stop changing it for the top down. Let's change it for the bottom up. Because that's where that's what's happening. You know, these people are choking out all the gravy, and by the time we're getting to what's left, you're getting dribbles there. They don't need the fucking gravy. They've got plenty of gravy. Let's steal the pot back for a wee change. Make things. I know how to go. There's an answer to this. Punitive damages with these people. Take it out their personal wealth, and then throw them in prison until their bodies fucking burn. Then drag them out into the streets and let their fucking carcasses rot until eternity. Because that's medieval stuff, isn't it? Well, what they're doing to us is fucking medieval. If you want to go down an eye for an eye, I'm not a bitter man. My friends will tell you. I try and be a calm man. But you've pissed me off, and that's not a fucking good thing to do. It's no good for me. It really isn't it?
Same here, mate. Same here. I'm, you know, it's like, you know, I think the gloves are off now. There's no doubt about it. And thankfully, Alex, thank God, at last, I wrote about this in my book. I've got to show my book and show off as well. The emergency transformation of human beings. I wrote about it in there, Alex. There's a chapter on there, and I said, I called it A Call to All Good People in Government. And basically what I said was that there will come a point in time where the corruption and the lies and the evil will become so obvious that people in the lower echelons of government and people in the army and people in the police will have to come forward and speak, because if they don't, they would have been seen to still be in there knowing the truth and protecting their pensions and their big wages. And when Michael Portillo came on GB News, and that's where I saw you on GB News, and I want to say thank you to Dan Wootton and Neil Oliver. Those guys are great, you know. And when I saw you on GB News, it was amazing. When I saw Michael Portillo on GB News, I thought, aha, this is a turning point, because people want to be seen to be on the right side of history, you know, these politicians. And we're at that inception point now where it's an overlap. And I think we'll see it more and more and more, where the more they try and lie, the more they're exposing themselves. And Dracula doesn't like the truth shone in its face, but the truth, the light of truth is in its face now, and they can't stop it, however many people they ban, Alex. I
think it's too late. You're right. It's too late. The dam's burst now. You mentioned a chap there, and Neil Oliver, I'd like to actually publicly apologise to him, and I'll tell you the reason why. Do you know, see when before he became, in the last, I forget the last 2 years, he's a different guy. Before that, being a Scotsman TV, I don't know, he just seemed to grind my gears, and I always thought it was a bit of a plonker, to be honest with you. And I've said that a few times publicly. So I'm going to publicly apologise to him, because what he's been doing for the last 2 years has been pretty incredible. And it doesn't relate to the guy that I saw on the telly before that, if that makes any sense. So I'm apologising to him publicly for that.
You're a very honest man. And when he was on LBC News, I remember seeing him on when he used to do the coast to coast thing, you know. And then, but when I saw him on, and who would have thought that that guy would be speaking out? Thank you, Neil, by the way. Yeah. Imagine that, you know, and then he was on LBC News. But when I was to listen to him on there with you know, all the others, I could tell he couldn't say enough. He just wanted to say more, but he couldn't. And then, of course, when he went on GB News, that man's a great man, a man of great truth and morals and ethics, and that ethical barometer, ethical barometer is in each human being. Every person's got it inside them, intrinsically, naturally, that tells you what's right and wrong. But of course,
no, it's up to you to set the standards of what type of man you're going to be.
Mm.
And how you adhere to these standards shows what kind of man you are. You know, so if you set the standards and you don't stick to them, then you're not really a man that sticks to his word. And I don't see the point in saying something if I don't stick to it. You know, so yeah, you're right. People have to make their stand and say, well, what is it I believe in? Do I believe that this is right? Or do I believe that this is wrong? Now, if you think it's right, support people like myself trying to get it stopped, and all the other people that's out there. There's lots of us. If you're not that way, then you're not somebody I really want to know. You're now seen as my enemy, because it's as simple as that. Because you took this whole do no harm and, informed consent. You're not a fucking doctor anymore. You're just somebody that can prove that you can read a book and remember some of the lines in it. What they fucking do? You don't impress me. A real doctor is a doctor that actually wants to do something, find out what the problem is, and not just automatically give a fobbed off, take the aim for a couple of weeks and you'll be fine. We really need to change the whole medical system now and things like that. There's lots to change. But one fight at a time.
One fight at a time. That, like you said earlier, the gates are open now, and the smelling salts is hitting more and more human noses now. That is for sure. There's a great, I don't like the word awakening, it's overused, but there's a great awakening now, by God. And I think partially it's because people are, when you're strangling someone, they don't give up easy. They fight for their bloody life. And that's what's happening now. Humanity's being strangled, and they're going to try and shove us in a bloody prison, a digital prison soon. And if we don't try and wriggle out of it, we'll be right in the crap. We'll be in big, big trouble. It'll be very hard to get out, Anything else you want to say before we go, Alex? Where can people help you? Where can people contact you guys? Because I know there's a sort of group of you, and can people get hold of you, and what you want to say to people?
Usually, if you want to get me, the best place to get me is on Twitter.
Yeah.
And it's at AKE2306. There's lots of us out there. Find them. They're all on my. You're seeing my friends on. Usually it's the same people. Quickly, but there is a couple. If someone is needing some support, advice, help, whatever, tell them to reach out to me in some form or other, and I'll do my best to try and point them in a direction if I've got that knowledge. I don't give medical advice because I'm not a doctor. I'm not qualified. I don't talk about medical stuff. I'll talk about if you're looking for help with regards to someone that may help with that's got the same condition. You can maybe talk about things. Yeah, I'm quite happy to do that and point in the direction of people that may be able to help you. I'm happy to do that. But there's lots of us out there. There's a good organisation called CAIM, CAIM. They're also on Twitter. And that's a group of health people that are trying to start to make a difference with people that are presenting with symptoms and conditions that's never been seen before. Because we're at a dawn of a new era, and illnesses, and they're seeing stuff that they just don't know what it is they're looking at. You know, particularly Vit's a classic case. You know, they're still very early doors. You know, Vit is another whole subject that we could talk about for quite a while. But no, if they want to help us, support us by pushing our awareness. That's all we ask.
So just to make so people know, VITT, that's an acronym for vaccine. Well, you better say it. I can't actually say it.
Vaccine-induced thrombotic thrombocythemia.
Which is
VIT. That's what the symptom is. What it happens is that the vaccine has caused your platelets to drop, your D-dimer to be elevated, and an antibody in your blood called negative PF4 to become positive, which means your blood just instantly wants to clot. In my case, it looks as if it's a permanent condition at the moment. In some other cases, they've managed to get their systems back clear, and they're now no longer VITs. They're back as normal human beings, and I'm so happy and glad for them, because it gives us hope that there's an opportunity, maybe in the future, they've got a way of trying to reverse some of this damage that's in our bloods.
Oh, fantastic. Well, we can talk about that another time, I think, because it's an amazing, huge subject. But so many people that come into my shop now are saying, I don't feel right. I feel tired. Something's wrong with me. Hey, you're dead right. Yeah. So, you know, God knows what's going on. Carrie Madej, who I had on my show, Dr. Carrie Madej, Shelley Tenpenny, are saying there's stuff in these vaccines, a variety of stuff in each one. And I don't know if it's true or not, but by God, it sounds terrible. They're finding strange things in there. Goodness knows what's going on. And it's very, very suspicious, in my opinion. Or why would you want to hide it for 75 years? My God, what a terrible, terrible thing. It's unbelievable. There's people like Julian Assange in prison, right? What a laugh. I was at Belmarsh prison. I was interviewing people outside there when he was coming out of there to go somewhere else or whatever. But listen, it's a great time to be a human. Anything else you want to say, Alex, while you're here?
No, listen, thank you very much for having me on, Jason. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. And yeah, hopefully I can do it again sometime. For
sure, mate, for sure. Absolutely. And I just got one quick thing, Alex, before we go. Yeah, I've just got to say a few things, give a few plugs when I leave you now. And, you know, I want to say, you know, before we go, thank you so much for being you, Alex. It's just an amazing thing that you've come forward. There's a lot of people who are ill and have got things happen to them, and they're not people I actually know who won't come forward. I've asked them, a dear friend of mine, he won't come forward, and I don't blame him. He's got a lot to lose, but we've got a lot more to lose if we don't, believe me. And there's people waiting for us to do something who haven't been born yet. And what we do now will affect their lives. And what you're doing now, Alex, is affecting people in the future and helping them to have a better life.
I've got fuck all to lose and everything to gain now.
Thank you, mate. Is there any way you haven't got a donation page or nothing like that, have you?
No, it's not something I've looked at the moment. I think the public support is more than enough for me at the moment. However, I'm not saying I won't come a day because I've got bills, mortgages, and everyone else to pay. But we'll wait and see how we go on with the government first.
Yeah. Any hopes that they're going to cough up?
I got a letter last Tuesday at 6 p.m. Basically saying that they're now got all my medical records and they're waiting on the assessment team coming back to them because they're still setting the assessment team up. So they can't give me a time scale, and it could take 6 months after the team's set up. But I do know that they've now set out a 5-year contract for medical assessors with a 2-year extension. So my answer is possibly, is it going to be 7.5 years before we're paid out? Because that's how it's looking for some of us.
That's what they do. They hope that you're going to be dead before they have to, right?
Yep. Now I've got a really fucking shock for them. I ain't going nowhere quietly.
Well done, brother. I love you, Alex, very dearly. Thank you for everything. We'll speak again, I know, and I'll get some of that information off you if I can later on tomorrow or something, and we can get some more people on the show to talk about this, you know.
I will do.
Thanks, Alex. Really appreciate you
very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
All the best. Bye-bye, Alex. Bye-bye. Wow, there goes Alex Mitchell. My God, it's absolutely incredible. What an amazing man. And yeah, I got quite angry at the beginning of that show, and I'm glad I did, because this man's an amazing man, and his life's been altered, and it's happening to so many millions of people, more in my opinion, billions, billions. And I believe that we're going to see a wave of illnesses and tragedies and blood clotting and all those things that Alex talked about. It's like a tidal wave gathering momentum, and I think we're in for big shocks. That's what I think. And I'm sorry to be angry. Liars, cheats. Yes, you out there, liars, cheats, evil. Calm down, Jason. No, I won't calm down. Look at the Iraq war. No one's been. They made Tony Blair the Middle East peace envoy after he'd killed millions of people on a lie, a proven lie. Yeah, like I said, they never get prosecuted. They seem to be immune from prosecution. Well, I don't think for much longer. I really, really don't. And I'm not. I normally have a good old rant at the end of the show. I'm not going to talk too much, and because I want to make this show quite precious, and it was. But to say, get my book, I got to do a bit of begging. Lots of information in that book about what's happening now. That was 12 years too early. It's very poignant now. Please get that on my website, jasonliosatos.com. Yeah, there'll be the links underneath the show. There'll be Alex's links, Alex Mitchell's links under the show as well. Also, sends me to tell people about my art website. I'm an artist. I've got a gallery in Totnes, Devon, and I've got a website called jasonliosatosart.com, and you'll see my paintings on there. Go to naturalearthecoclothing.com, which is my wife's eco clothing business. When I met her, she was designing bras and knickers for Marks and Spencer's. I met her in Waterstone's bookshop one lonely evening in Bath many years ago, and she actually took me in Marks and Spencer's. She showed me one of the bras that she used to design. Amazing lady. Thank you, Louise. You're a wonderful person. Thank you also, all you wonderful heroes out there that have done so much work exposing all this. There's too many of you to list, but people like guests of mine on the show, Del Bigtree, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Carrie Madej, scientists like Professor Francis Boyle, who were talking about this whole debacle when it started. People like David Icke, thank you, David, who was laughed at years ago. Gareth Icke, all you people, Brian Geddes, UK Cullen, Patrick Henderson, so many others. I could make lists. The Corbett report, James Corbett, Alex Jones. Oh, Alex Jones, yeah, Alex Jones. Everybody. People say he's a ranter and stuff, but what that man's been out there speaking the truth for years. Jay Dyer on there, and all the rest of you on there on InfoWars. Well done to you all. Shroy, I've forgotten your first name, but on the War Room, great people. Thank you all so much. What would have happened without you people? All you people that marched in London. I was there with everybody there. I filmed it, and that's why I was banned off YouTube. And I'll say it again before I go, and I won't rant on too much, but I've got to say this. It's fear of criticism and fear of punishment. Fear of loss of job. Fear is huge. Fear of death, okay, is a big thing. Fear of loss of job, fear of loss of livelihood, fear of loss of liberty that are stopping so many people coming forward. There's doctors giving injections that know they're wrong, and they keep doing them. Can you imagine doing that, lying in bed at night and thinking that you've got to pay your mortgage and you've got kids in college and you're damaging people's health? Still giving those vaccines when you know the reports, the Pfizer reports that have come out and showed that it's damaged so many people in those trials. And that's why they wanted to hide them for 75 years or 70 years or whatever it was. It's incredible what's going on now. The smelling salts is in the air globally now. There is a global awakening. It's under human noses. The amnesia is finally lifted. And the trust in government is finally lifting at last. It's been a long, torturous journey for humanity with pockets of symbiosis. But my goodness, it's time now that we created a better world for humanity. A fair world of freedom, happiness, joy, a debt-free world. We haven't got to work all your life to pay for food and shelter. It's a tragedy, and water. It's terrible. It's become normal, and it's got to change. And there's people like Alex Mitchell, who we just had on the show, who's lost his leg, who's speaking out for people who haven't been born yet, who are relying on people like him and all of you out there, every single one of you, and midwives, for a new world that wants to be born. And it won't be born until you roll your sleeves up and not worry so much about what people think about you, and do the right thing and expose corruption and lies and cheating, and stop looking for another mummy and daddy in the government. We're all like little children who've been brainwashed in school and conditioned to do what you're told, and don't speak out and don't complain, even when you know things are a lie, because you'll feel getting told off and punished. It's over. It's time for a better world for humanity. That's it. Thank you all very much for listening. Now I've got Bruce de Torres on next, actually this evening, and we'll be speaking to him later on. We've got some other great guests lined up, and thank you all for listening. Again, thank you to Alex Mitchell. You cannot say it enough. Thank you to Alex Mitchell and all those people who are coming forward like a tidal wave of truth that won't be stopped, exposing this evil. And where's Chris Whitty? Where's Matt Hancock? Where have they gone as the truth comes out? Well, they fire him, or like Matt Hancock resigns, and what? Everything's then forgiven and forgotten, right? Everything's forgiven and forgotten. Boris will go, everything's forgiven and forgotten. Different wings on the same bird. Anyway, I love you all. Thank you very much. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you again soon. All the very best. Get my book, don't forget. Support me on Patreon. And buy me a coffee there if you want. And we'll see you again soon. And go to my website and look at some of the products. I'm an affiliate for a couple of products on there. Please go there and support me, support my show, and keep me going. It's not always easy here, telling the truth. But I wouldn't be doing anything else, because I want to, when I'm lying dying, as we all do, normally in a baby's nappy, when we're old, I want to know something. I tried. Whatever happens, I know I tried. Thank you all. God bless you all. Bye-bye.